Let's go live to the opposition leader, Peter Dutton, now speaking in Perth.
I wanted to make some comments in relation to the announcement, obviously, out of the United States in relation to tariffs. I do think this is a bad day for our country, and it's not the treatment that Australians deserve, because we have a very trusted, long-standing and abiding relationship with the United States. It spans 100 years, and we have fought alongside and with the Americans in every major battle over that period of time. We have a special relationship with the United States, and it hasn't been treated with respect by the administration or by the President. And the question now is, what do we do to resolve this matter and to do it quickly? It's clear to me that in the language that's come out of the administration that there is a discussion to take place, and it needs to take place as a matter of urgency, because as Prime Minister, I want to make sure that we can help our beef producers, make sure that we can help our manufacturers, make sure that we can grow our industry and make sure that we can increase employment in this country. And we can do that through a normalised relationship in a trading sense with the United States, and obviously to expand other markets, which is exactly what a coalition government does and has as a priority, and always has had. We believe very strongly in free trade. I've spoken this morning with three major beef producers here in Australia, two of whom are heavily involved in export to the United States, and talking about what the impact will be on them and the plans for them and for their company. And obviously they're in negotiations with their counterparts in the United States at the moment. It's obvious to us that there is more consumption than there is supply of beef out of the United States domestic market. So that is, the Americans can't produce enough beef to satisfy what is consumed by American consumers. So this deal is actually going to be bad for consumers in the United States, because they require our beef for beef patties and for their market. It's also important to point out that there is no ban of beef coming from the United States into Australia. They need to meet the traceability requirements, and they need to adhere to our strict conditions that we have in place. The next point that I would make is that we have an opportunity, in my judgment, to start negotiations with the United States straight away. I think there can be a deal done very quickly with the administration, and I think it's important the Prime Minister apply himself to that immediately. I think it's obvious that we have, and I've made this point I think in a speech last year and again in January this year, there is a critical relationship between the United States and the United Kingdom in terms of our defence compact. We have troops in the north of our country, we have the AUKUS deal, we have the ANZUS treaty. It is a long and abiding relationship, and the core of an arrangement between us and the United States in resolving this matter will centre around the defence relationship. The critical minerals that I spoke about again in my speech in January is an absolute must-do in the relationship, and the United States, to shore up its supply chains, requires our critical minerals. So there is a natural point of leverage for us in the relationship. The Prime Minister hasn't been able to get a call or a meeting with President Trump, but that needs to change, and he needs to do everything he can to leverage the Ambassador and others to get the relationship normalised. It's obvious that the Prime Minister didn't know anything about this announcement until it was actually released to the press, which also speaks to the state of the relationship at the moment. So I want to make sure that we can, as quickly as possible, resolve this matter. I believe that we can, and I'm happy to take some questions. I just want to make this point first, though. The government's announced 5 measures. One, strengthening anti-dumping laws, which we strongly support, and we don't believe that the government should have weakened the anti-dumping laws in the first place. We support the $50 million for export growth, and also note, though, that the government has reduced EMDG funding and broader export support across Austrade and in postings, etc. We support the $1 billion economic resilience program, but we believe that that is best administered through the Export Finance Australia organisation. We do strongly support, obviously, government to buy Australian, and the government has promised this already, of course, but it hasn't properly been put into action in relation to government procurement processes. And the government talks about establishing a strategic reserve critical minerals. But it's much more sophisticated than that. There is an arrangement to be arrived at, and we've been working on this, but it is something that the government can resolve, I think, very quickly with the administration. We need to do that for our beef producers. We need to do it for every industry here, and to protect the jobs in Australia. We need to get this sorted out as quickly as possible, and that's exactly what we're dedicated to do.